You will be aware that a serious incident occurred here at this location this morning. Police and ambulance services were called and deployed to a number of casualties. It is with great sadness that I confirm that one of those injured in the incident, a 13-year-old boy, has died from their injuries. He was taken to hospital after being stabbed and sadly died a short while after. The child's family are being supported firstly by my local officers and now with some specialist officers, and everyone across the Met is keeping them in our thoughts at this unimaginably difficult time. The events of this morning are truly horrific, and I cannot even begin to imagine how those affected must be feeling. My thoughts are with the injured, their families and the wider community as we all begin to come to terms with what has happened and try to understand what has happened here. I know that there will be, clearly and understandably, a desire for answers and an explanation as to what happened. Our investigation is in its very early stages, and my officers are working right now to establish the full facts as a priority, and we will share what we can when we can with the wider community and, of course, with yourselves. A 36-year-old is currently in custody. He was tasered here at the scene and arrested 22 minutes after the first call was made to police shortly before 7 a.m. this morning. I want to confirm at present that we do not believe there is any ongoing threat to the wider public, and we are not seeking any other persons. The incident does not appear to be linked to any act of terrorism. We know now that during the incident 5 people were injured, 3 members of the public and 2 of my local officers who were responding to the call. 2 of those members of the public remain in hospital. Thankfully their injuries are not believed to be life-threatening. The 2 Met police officers are also currently in hospital with stab wounds. Both require surgery and have significant injuries, but we believe at this stage that they were not life-threatening. I commend the incredible bravery of not just the police officers but the other emergency responders who came to this scene this morning. I would ask anyone with information or any footage that would help us with this investigation to share that and call 101, please. I know the families of those involved, the local and wider community, and many across London will want to know why this terrible incident occurred. And it's our job to find that out, and we will. I am committed to providing those answers when we can, and I would ask for some patience while this important work is carried out. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Bell, was the man arrested yesterday?
The male was arrested this morning at the scene.
Was he previously arrested?
I'm not going to be commenting on any of those questions other than the information that I've released. We will share that information when we feel it's appropriate and when we know the answers. Okay. So we do not believe this to be a targeted attack, and we are establishing the circumstances at the moment. Okay, thank you. No further questions.
I'm here in Thurlow Gardens in Hainault, East London, where just metres behind me this morning, a man who had stabbed 5 people, including 2 police officers, was arrested. He was arrested just behind me here, behind the silver car. A neighbour who watched the scene unfold said that she was scared, seeing about half a dozen police officers pin the man down, cuff him, and then take him into a nearby van. She said they proceeded to then collect evidence from the scene.
There was a massive response from the police. There was loads of them. Must have been like at least a dozen of them. And they've all ran up to where he was in the driveway, just shouting and sort of screaming at him to put the sword there. He had like a big samurai sword, and then. And then they were screaming at him, and then he was just shouting back, and then they tased him, and then just about 7 or 8 of them just piled on top of him, and they was there probably for about 15 minutes, and then they literally picked him up off of the floor, and sort of walked him into the back of the van, and then sort of took him away. They arrested him at 7:15.
This attack is devastating and appalling. I'm sure I speak on behalf of the entire city when I say our thoughts and prayers are with this young child and his family. What I do know is that the police and emergency services responded very quickly to the call out from members of the public. The police and other emergency services were well aware this was a dangerous man with a sword. They ran towards him. not thinking about their own safety to protect other members of the public. In addition to this child losing his life, 2 members of the public have been injured. They were both taken to hospital. 2 police officers have been very seriously injured, are in surgery now. It shows the dangers police officers face every day, and can I thank them as well for their bravery.
Yeah, what do you think of the police officers' actions?
Well, I know from speaking to the Commissioner and other members of the Met Police Service that they were well aware this was a dangerous man. They were aware he had a big sword. They were concerned about the safety of members of the public. They were aware they were risking their own personal safety, and it breaks my heart, not only that this child has lost his life, but 2 members of our emergency services have risked their own safety to make sure others weren't injured as a consequence of this man's actions. And I think it demonstrates to all of us the everyday bravery of police officers in London and indeed across the country.
You say you've been in touch with the Met Commissioner, Mark Rowley, constantly through the morning. What has he been telling you, or what has he been able to tell you about how events unfolded and how the investigation's going? Well,
the key message to local residents is if they've recorded on their doorbell or on their phone anything that happened, please pass it on to the police. The police have confirmed they're not looking for anybody else. They have confirmed there is no ongoing wider threat to the community, and they've also confirmed this is not a terrorist-related incident. Members of the public, not unreasonably, will be quite scared in that community in Hainault. I know it very well. It's a tight-knit community. Additional uniformed officers will be present, not simply to reassure members of the public, but also in case members of the public have any intelligence and any information. I'd encourage members of the public in Redbridge to ring 101. If they have information, they can ring Crime Stoppers. And I appreciate how terrifying this was. They can also contact victim support, who will provide assistance to those residents who will be traumatised, I'm sure, by what happened this morning.
I mean, you talk about the local community there. It is, I mean, it's truly shocking, isn't it, that this can happen early morning on the streets of London, someone with a sword going door to door, it seems.
Well, I'm keen not to talk about the actual incident for obvious reasons you'll appreciate, but I've been in touch with the leader of the council, Councillor Jazz Athwell, the excellent local member of Parliament at West Street, and both of them are as shocked as I am. Both of them have talked about how wonderful this community is. They're sure this community will come together, and the entire community, like London, is sending their thoughts and prayers to this child and his family.
What reassurance can you give, or will the police be giving on the ground over the coming days?
Well, the area commander has already disclosed as much information as he can at the moment. People will be aware an arrest has been made. There could well be a charge and a trial. We'd all kick ourselves if we inadvertently said things during the course of today that could prejudice that trial. The really important thing for members of the public in Hainault and Redbridge is there are no ongoing threats to members of the public because an arrest was made swiftly by our police. This isn't being treated as a terrorist-related incident, but not unreasonably. Members of that community will want reassurance. That's why there'll be additional police officers present during the course of the day and the course of the next few days. It's worth just all of us reflecting on the loss of life. This is a child. This is a family that will be grieving, that are bereaving. The police have reassured me. Not only are there specialist officers there with them this morning, but there'll be experienced family liaison officers helping them during this really difficult time.